Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Monday night edition of the Third and Long podcast. My name is Shane Harris. Above me is Philip Perrins and Mr. Oliver Butler Henderson. Our baby Hope is a little under the weather. Get well soon, our old buddy. But before we start, and I kept this really quiet. Don't we know about that? But before we start, I've kept this really quiet, and I don't know how to say it, so I'm just going to come out and say it.
You're Welsh.
This is. Well, we know that one. Come on now. This is going to be my last appearance on the Third and Long podcast. Before I see my beloved Baltimore Ravens play for the first time in my life this coming Sunday. Yeah, boys, I can't make Thursday. I'll be in work. But oh my God, I'm so looking forward to it. Even after that absolute dumpster fire that we gave them yesterday. But I digress for now. Gentlemen, how's it going?
Oh, yes, mate. Oh, yes. It was so good until about 6:10 yesterday. And then the real Patriots stood up, and then we'll talk about that in a minute.
But how are you, Phil? You all right?
Do you know what? I could be better. To be fair, could be better. Yesterday was just a day. Yes, I mean nothing really exciting happened yesterday.
Aren't you two times man versus fat now?
Makes it sound like I'm doubly the size of a normal fat man. Yes, so massive congratulations to my 7-a-side team. We are 2-time winners of the man versus. It makes me sound like I'm a massive little chub. Basically, man versus fat is just basically if you're a little bit overweight in your 30s and you want to lose a bit of weight and play football with people that aren't going to literally just try and break your legs because you've got work the next day, it is the perfect time to do it. So my team, L'Argentina, we won our cup final yesterday. And I do play as a goalkeeper because I love just being in goal. And unlike other goalkeepers for other teams around the table, I'm not like Onana. I'm actually quite good with my hands and my feet. So, and I'm a bit more of a gobshite. So, I mean, what I am in the pod.
I believe that one. I believe that
one. Yeah. Shall we start talking about some normal football, not soccer?
We can.
Right. Let's pounce with Thursday night football with the Washingtons shock defeat to Chicago with their Chicago's 14 win in first win in 14 regular season games. Wasn't expecting that one.
I wasn't.
They were meant to be this year's Cleveland Browns. And then
I've said it for weeks and weeks and weeks. Justin Fields is a good quarterback. I've said it for weeks and weeks and weeks.
One game doesn't make you a good quarterback.
No.
Okay.
He had a very, very good game against probably a poor Washington defense, I want to say.
Even with Chase Young?
It's still a poor Washington defense. He had Chase Young and he had half a sack. One pass deflected. I mean, there's not a massive amount of tackles in there. There's not 63 total tackles compared to the Chicago 74. But Chicago, the last couple of years, have always led the league in tackles. And if you look at defensive stats, Chicago have always had one or two players in the top 5 of defensive tackles in it, which is big for them. It's what they want to do. But yeah, Justin Fields did look good. I mean, Del Valle, he had 4 touchdowns. DJ Moore went absolutely off with three touchdowns for 230 yards.
You can see why that trade was made now, and the people I feel sorry for with the DJ Moore trade is people that didn't have him in fantasy.
One bloke put it in the morning. Oh, damn, I left Moore on the field, and he's just scored me 40 odd points. It's scary, isn't it? very, very scary.
And I will say it because Baby Hope's not here. Sorry, Ollie, but Sam Howell has not impressed me.
I didn't think his game was good on Thursday, but I mean, I know we're going to go slightly off topic anyway. Like, have you found like this season in particular, there've been more blowout scores than in previous years?
Yeah.
Like I don't know whether or not it's just like an off season where offenses are just being a little bit more fast paced, West Coast, like quick release, but I'm finding a lot of the games just being explosive blowouts. Or just high scoring games, sorry, I should say.
It's a very much a passing league now. And I'm going to get into this when I get to the Patriots games because I want to talk about this. But it is very much a passing game. There's very much 3-4 yard downs, 3 or first and 10, second and 6, third and 2, third and 3. It's now right. Let's see if we can get that 11, 12, 13, 20, 30 yard plays in one go to get straight down there. We'll talk about it in a minute when we go to the London game because there was one drive which was ridiculous. It's set 45 seconds to 75 yards. But yeah, I do think this is what the league is going into now. It is a very heavy passing league, and if you've got weak secondary, you're going to get exposed. I think personally. Any of you gentlemen want to add something to the Thursday night football game?
I still don't rate Justin Fields. I'm really sorry. This one good game does not make a good team. I mean, let's not forget that in the previous 4 occasions they had been diabolical. I think the Commanders are a work in progress anyway. I just think it's Riverboat Ron's last season in Washington.
Yeah.
Hull showed, 388 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. You let the rookie play. And the rookie is going to make mistakes. Judge him in his second year. Judge him in his third year.
Technically, this is Sam Howell's second year, but he didn't play last year, so he is his.
Yeah. So, but I would still call it his rookie year because he didn't play at all last year. But he's going to make mistakes, and this is one thing that I'm guilty of when I talk about especially with like Trey Lance, and we've talked about McCorkle and Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence and all those kind of other people as well. But he's going to make mistakes, and yes, they lost by 20. He threw 1 interception, but he had a decent game. It wasn't an amazing game, but this is his 5th start as an NFL quarterback. I mean,
he picked up a couple of first downs with his legs.
Exactly, and he's also quite exciting to watch. And Josh Allen's first season in the NFL, he was appalling. He was absolutely appalling. So that's not writing him off just yet.
Yep.
Commanders are in a legit rebuilding stage, while the Bears, again, one good game does not make a good team.
Agreed. So yesterday we saw our second London game, and I've just clicked on the wrong bloody box score. Going back to these explosive plays. So it was into the 4th quarter, and Buffalo were down by 2 scores, and they with 4.5 minutes left on the clock, and Josh Allen did Josh Allen stuff. 4 plays, 75 yards, 45 seconds. Gabe Davis touchdown. Boom! Thank you very much. And with and for a penalty on that one, which took it back 10 yards. Cloverfield's Cloverfielding. Good evening. We do a Monday show during the season, which is what it is now, my friend. So you will see us twice a week. Get to see your wonderful Mr. Parents twice a week, which we absolutely love.
And there's me thinking he was here for me.
Oh, definitely. I'll talk about from what I saw from the stadium, but what did you guys get from the TV coverage out there? Because the stadium was bouncing.
Well, I watched it in work, and from my vantage point, it looked like a Bills home game. The amount of match the amount they were pushing for the Bills, mentioning Josh Allen, and the amount of blue jerseys you saw there, and the noise from what I was loud when it was on TV. Ollie, what was it like in the stadium?
Very, very loud. It is the loudest I've heard a UK game. It was ridiculous. I would say probably 30% of the Bills Mafia was American. Easily that one. It was such a loud stadium. I mean, the atmosphere was brilliant. It was so electric. Even Danny Ricciardo got a massive cheer when he popped up on the big screen as well. One of my favorite drivers. Yeah, he's a Bills fan, so I might have to think about that one. But yeah, I mean, Travis Etienne was absolutely brilliant. His 2 rushing touchdowns. One, he wasn't even touched. He literally broke the corner. It was brilliant. I will praise the Bills Mafia. I really don't like the Bills Mafia at all. I think they're absolutely ridiculous. They're stupid, jump through tables. Well, as well. I know. Yeah, right.
Get him.
Ollie, hey, we don't jump through tables.
Oh! I wonder why you don't like the Bills.
Sure, me and Phil got a soft spot for the Bills Mafia.
That as well.
I love the Bills Mafia. I'm going to get some Bills jerseys for me and you, Shano.
No comment. Sorry, Ollie, you were saying.
But yeah, I mean, they were raucous. They were loud. I don't like their song, which is really strange because it's who's it? Shout, come on, shout. Who sang Shout?
What?
I will tell you.
Shout.
The original was Lulu.
Lulu, that was it. Yes, they've got their own version of Shout.
Hey.
So that was, there was a Patriots fan 2 rows in front of me who was singing along to it, thinking, you can't be a Pats fan if you're singing along to a Buffalo song, but okay, whatever. But yeah, the whole crowd was absolutely brilliant there. I'd say there's probably out of the 61,000, I reckon there's at least 45,000 fans there at Buffalo fans. It was brilliant. I've never heard a stadium like it. It was wow, absolutely amazing. To the game,
come this Sunday, you hear something like it. No matter where I'm sat, you'll definitely hear me.
Dude, I've heard the 12 come over here when they're at Wembley, and Buffalo, the Bills Mafia put the 12 to shame.
Wow.
You know how loud Seahawks are.
Yeah. They're 12 man for a reason.
Yeah. The Bills Mafia will put them to shame. They were absolutely fair play to them. But Ollie said to me that he had a Bills fan around him. I can't remember if he said front or back or anything. I said, oh yeah, he was going on my nerves and all that. When Diggs had the pass ripped out of his hands to pretty much effectively end the game, the Bills fan stormed out and said McDermott could suck a dick.
Wow.
Oh dear, it's not gone past 9 o'clock. Whoops. But that's what I mean by Bills fans. I mean, I've seen so much rubbish on the Patriots groups today and last night. It's beyond a joke. But
we'll get onto that. We'll get onto that later, Ollie. Okay.
Get onto the bit. Calvin Ridley, brilliant. Travis Etienne, brilliant. Trevor Lawrence, apart from his 2 fumbles, which were both forced, which was him trying to ball. Best way to say is poor ball security. Having his hand out instead of having it tucked in, as Mr. Perrin is about to go into depth about.
No, it was necessarily about like his ball funneling security.
Ball funneling.
It's only because I'm a big proponent for like Trevor Lawrence. I do think he is a generational talent, and out of that class of quarterbacks from 3 years ago, he is by far the best. Like consistently, he looks really good. I mean, I've not been as convinced of him this year, and obviously I've watched like both London games, which have been both Jaguar games, so I've seen a lot of him consistently in the last 2 weeks, and he's been all over British TV as well in terms of promoting the Jags, as Jacksonville do every single year, promote themselves as London's team. Did he look good live? Because watching him a couple of times on the telly, he was either a little bit slow, he wasn't getting his reads down. Yes, the Jags won, but in the last 2 weeks, he hasn't looked as good as I remember him being last year. Was that the same live? Because I saw him live last year as well. And I wasn't as sold on him when I saw him at Wembley, but I just put that down to him second year syndrome. And then he had a really, really good end. But is Trevor Lawrence, did he look good live essentially, like in terms of what I'm trying to get across as?
Watching over the 2 games? Yes.
Yeah.
He's good pocket movement. I've noticed this till I watched this day yesterday because obviously Tottenham are higher up. I'm not on the ground, so I was able to watch him a bit better. His pocket movement and his presence to yes, he took 5 sacks yesterday, but most of them was literally the Bills pass rush doing really well and condensing the pocket, so he couldn't go anywhere. His pocket presence is really good and able to move around the pocket. He can run for a big guy. For someone who's 6'8", he can run. He could really run. I mean, he ran for 31 yards yesterday, getting himself a couple of first downs again as well. But yeah, he can move. I mean, Travis Etienne came to party yesterday. He was superb, and so was
brilliant.
Yeah, who else had a good game? Gabe Davis had a really good game as well, and really important for that one. Yeah, it was a good game, a really good game. I don't know if anyone saw this, but Neil Runnels had Roger Goodall on one of their tours.
Yes, I messaged you guys on Saturday night.
And the one I want to take from this is they use this as, does this work? Can we have a back-to-back game, and can they do home and away, blah, 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 blah. They are leaving it open for multiple UK franchise teams.
Yeah.
Very quickly, before you continue, I'm just going to make a quick point. Are they baiting us? Like Phil will know when they had Money in the Bank over here and John Cena mentioned WrestleMania in London. Are they just baiting us, or do you think it's genuinely going to happen?
Go on then, Phil.
The only reason why I will agree with you here, Shano, it's because it's been long enough now. I genuinely, the longer this has gone on, I love the international games, gents. I mean, we have our podcast where we have long segments like today about the international games. It's been, over 10 years now? 10 years? Is it 10
2007 was the first international game.
All right, so it's been 16 years. 16 years. And now we have at least 3 every year, with one now being played in Germany. If they haven't figured out that the appetite is there, and they're still not going to pull the trigger. I mean, we talk about like the NFL have like another expansion kind of like draft. I generally don't think now, with how long it's gone on, the appetite is there. But when you come over, and then we'll have part and parcel. I mean, Ollie, me and you are going to be perfect examples of this on Sunday. Shane is absolutely buzzing his tits off that he's going to go watch the Ravens.
Oh, yes.
Understatement.
On Sunday, Ollie, are you going to be wearing a Patriots jersey?
Yes, unfortunately, with a paper bag.
With a paper bag. I think the NFL would be willing to jeopardize that fandom of all these different fans representing all 32 different teams coming to London consistently. If you've got a London team, and it is, let's just call them a generic name, like the London
Monarchs.
You know, like they used to be years ago.
Yep.
It's going to take another 10 years to get that fan base up, because I'm not going to stop supporting San Francisco to follow a London team. I'll be interested almost like as a second, third team, but like I'm not going to give up. I've supported the 49ers since I was like in single figures, and now I'm 32. Chano, you've been a Ravens fan for a long time. Ollie, you've been a Patriots fan for a long time. I'm not going to give up my fandom to support a team that's in my... So I don't think realistically Roger Goodell's going to do that. I think it's like what you said, like it's going to be like a John Cena thing coming out of London. Oh, I think London's going to get a WrestleMania. Oh my God, I was so sick. Oh my God, that's going to be so awesome. It'll never happen. Never happen.
No,
I don't think logistically as well, it's going to happen.
Unless it is, let's say they bring Jacksonville over, or they bring, the Jags over, or they bring the Chargers over, teams that, although Jacksonville have got a new stadium in the pipeline, or the LA Chargers, who aren't a popular team over there at all.
Well, the Chargers are the masters of their own downfall because of them moving from San Diego to LA. That's literally why. Imagine if we got the Commanders. Like how British would that be? Like the Washington Commanders in Washington DC end up being the London Commanders. Oh my God, that'd be amazing. That'd be quality.
Hashtag London Commanders is going to be. We're going to make it trending.
Put it in the world, make it happen.
I think
the London Patriots.
Not while Kraft's alive and in charge of that team. That won't happen.
We'll talk about that a little bit later on.
Yeah, I think Belichick might be giving a few more heart attacks. It's been 25 years since the last expansion, which is when the Jags entered the league.
Was it Jags and Texans?
Might have been, actually.
Because Panthers were before them.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because St. Louis went back to St. Louis.
Yes.
So the Rams went back to St. Louis. Yeah. On to Sunday night games. So we had Zach Moss run for 195 scrimmage yards as Tennessee lost to Gardner Minshew's Indianapolis Colts 23-16. Gardner Minshew came in after Anthony Richards gone down with a third-degree AC sprain. We'll talk about that in a minute.
I don't care. Okay. Right.
Young Ho kicks a 37-yard field goal for Atlanta to beat Texans 21-19, which keeps Desmond Ridder's unbeaten home record, including his time at Cincinnati and his 5 home games as a starter for Atlanta. That includes last season. Hutchinson picks off can't remember his name now. Bryce Young, as the Lions roar to a 42-24 win over the Carolina Panthers. And despite Tua throwing 2 picks against New York Giants, including a 102-yard touchdown return, the Miami Dolphins still managed to beat the New York Giants 31-16.
On the subject of the Dolphins, really quickly, not yet. On the subject of the Dolphins, really quickly, do you think Sky Sports have a hard-on for the Dolphins at the moment? That's the second 6 o'clock game in 2 weeks that they've been on TV. And I'm not just saying this as a Ravens fan. I'm saying this as, somebody slightly impartial. Why wouldn't they have the Ravens Steelers game on instead? That's a huge AFC North matchup. It's a huge matchup in football. Yet they'll have the Dolphins against the Giants, where everyone and their mother knew the Dolphins would walk over the Giants.
Who's their presenters of Sky Sports?
I don't think Neil Reynolds picks the games, does he?
No. But who does he?
He's a Colts fan.
Dolphins. I know he's a Dolphins fan. Yeah,
he's a Colts fan.
He's a Dolphins fan. They did put a poll out for some reason, and I can't remember the poll was up, but they did put a poll. Who should the games be? You look at it. The NFC North, or the AFC North was obviously the obvious choice for that one, or even you could have gone for Houston, Atlanta, but obviously Atlanta played last week in the UK.
Now that you've just said about Reynolds, it does make perfect sense, because in terms of Sky Sports NFL coverage, he is the face of Sky Sports NFL. Yeah. Now, I know he doesn't just produce; he's also one of the lead. He doesn't just present; he's also one of the lead producers on the show as well. And he had been for years, even when it was Kevin Cadle as well. He was one of the main producers of the show. He does a lot of stuff for NFL.
Cadle.
I've got his book. It's a great book. And he does a lot of stuff like NFL UK. He's everywhere, so he's quite a heavily influential person. I also know that he's not. I've said to you guys before as well. I don't know if I said it off air. He's also not a fan of San Francisco, purely because of his interaction with Colin Kaepernick years ago. So I think he does have that particular power. And yeah, if you're in a position where your team are quite good at the moment, why wouldn't you pull a few strings to have the games? Because they ultimately have almost final say on what games they show, and more power to him. And let's be honest, the Dolphins are a good team this year.
Yeah, unfortunately.
No, they shouldn't be doing it. He shouldn't be using it. He shouldn't be using his poll to do that. That's not fair.
You mean what Rupert Murdoch did for years with Man United?
It is also down to the league as well. They do say, right, you are playing this game.
Yeah.
So, Go on then. B before N.
Which one?
All right, come on then.
What, the Saints?
No.
Which one am I doing?
It's Mr. Down below.
Yeah. It's my very quick review of that dumpster fire from yesterday. Yes, I'm a fan of those words. We were leading up until the beginning. We were leading up until the beginning.
What's one of them? We've never had one of them.
Quarter.
I'm going to say, steady on, Hendo. Steady on.
You like Kevin Keegan and Hendo, you can't hold on to a lead. Yeah, but it's so anyway. We beat ourselves again yesterday. We were leading up until the fourth quarter, and we just fell apart. Lamar Jackson did have the highest quarterback rating of the day throughout the NFL of a 94.6. So for a change, we can't put the blame on him. It was the drops yesterday. Going into yesterday's game, we had 0 drops on the season. Yesterday we had 7 drops. That was, I think it was 3 for Mark Andrews. Bateman was guilty. Aguilar was guilty. And Zay Flowers was guilty as well. To the point, so much to the point. I love Zay Flowers, but still. So much to the point, Rashad Bateman has deactivated his Twitter account. Personally, I think that's, if somebody makes you want to do that's too far. You know, at the end of the day, we're still 3-2. We're not a bad team. We're not getting blown out by like certain other teams that we know about on the show. Yep. So I think I don't think we're too bad, but I genuinely think yesterday we beat ourselves, and to lose to those, it makes me sick. It really, really does. The only way I could shut up, Bill. The only way I can summarize it, only feeling that relates to me, is when those horrible Scouse bastards beat us last year, and whenever they beat us. That's the only way that feeling can relate to myself. Yeah, like I said, Justice Hill.
Before the watershed now.
Yeah, I know. It's a good job we're not monetized yet. Yeah, Justice Hill ran for our only score. JT kicked the 3-point. Yeah, he took it well. We had a blocked punt as well, which they got a safety out of. After that blocked punt, it seemed to spark the team. It seemed to get them rolling, and we just had no answers. But anyway, I've waited 21 years to say these next words, and they still don't seem real. The next time the Baltimore Ravens play football, I am going to be there in person to see it. As I said, this is my last show before. This is my last show before Sunday. I was just watching the Jags and the Bills game yesterday, as I said, and with the build-up package and the hype package and the music and all that lot, I was struggling to keep it together because I know that the next time they do that, it's going to be my team there.
I've got some tissues.
Sorry, boys. Enough from me. Thank you, but
I'll make sure Laura's got a spare top for you in case you cry that much.
Just hope we win.
Yeah, I mean, special teams. I love a special teams block punt. It's literally just come off my screen on ESPN as I started talking about. That is really, really weird. I absolutely love a special teams block. I mean, New England are fun of that. I have seen Lamar Jackson get very angry with his helmet
again.
You know, yeah. It's I haven't seen the drops. I won't admit. I won't lie. But if your quarterback is putting it on the money, I did hear one say it was literally in the guy's chest and he put it down. I heard it on the radio on the way back. They said it was in the guy's chest and he put it down.
So many of them, I couldn't believe it. And just watching the highlights from other games today and people making catches look so easy, I could see why he got frustrated, because he was the best quarterback in the league yesterday. And when you play your game and you are the best at doing so, and you've got to rely on other people, you know, other people make mistakes, of course you're going to get frustrated.
Yeah.
Do you want to add anything, Mr. Perrins, before we go over to my show?
I don't think it. I mean, as much as I love a bit of banter and I love winding Cherno up because that's just how our friendship is.
He's going. We got a friendship.
No, he's excited himself.
Oh well, you know what? Fuck you. Fuck the Ravens.
Oh, you can say it now. We're past the watershed. You're all right.
Look, the Steelers have been quite underwhelming, despite what their record says. The Ravens have, let's be honest, probably just have been just as underwhelming. So yeah, it's. I don't think it's too much to look into, if I'm being honest. And again, the Steelers put 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter on Baltimore. You could argue that they probably should have, added more, in the second and the third, because a lot of the time there was very little going on in that game, and Steelers, I just think, scored two easy touchdowns, and then just saw the game out. And I think that was just too much for Harbaugh. But I don't think I don't think that loss is as alarming as the next game that we're going to talk about.
I do think though.
Yeah,
those
the
two
only
head
thing, the only good thing that came out of that game, sorry, I momentarily, the only good thing that came out of that game was the fact that nobody else got injured. Sorry, but
Yeah.
I do think the two head coaches are on hot seats. Well, slightly warm seats.
You're talking about like two Hall of Fame, Super Bowl winning, defensive style head coaches, and I think that type of play calling is gonna fade away.
out.
So I don't want to say like they're dinosaurs, but they're coming towards the end of their coaching tree or coaching life, I should say, not coaching tree.
Yeah.
So I can't see either of them being sacked because of how much goodwill they've built in that organization. I mean, Harbaugh won Baltimore's first Super Bowl since the early 2000s. And Tomlin continued that kind of like era with Big Ben when he took over from, I can't remember who won them the Super Bowl in the 2000s. He had a mustache. I can't remember. He did stuff anyway. I can't remember his name. Tomlin
Bill
took
Cowher.
over. Was it Cowher? Bill Cowher.
I hate Bill Cowher. Yes.
But like, I mean,
I think it's him. I thought it was the guy
head-
on bloody on Game Day TV. I can't think of his name. The odd dude.
You're not thinking Nooch? Not Nooch. Nooch was
Sure, it was Bill Cowher.
I can't think of his name. Anyway.
Anyway, so I think Tomlin has again really good faith. He's never had a losing season. I think that stems quite. Both coaches, I don't think, have had a losing season in the NFL. Like, did Harbaugh? Did the Ravens end in a losing season?
Yeah, they did because they had a low pick, didn't they?
I'm not even taking the mic. I genuinely can't remember. So
I didn't think we did, but Ollie seems to know more than me. So
I'm sure they had a low. I think after they won the Super Bowl, they had a low. Couple of years after the Super Bowl, they had a low pick. You had, surprise, a load of injuries.
and players that won a Super Bowl that wanted to instantly get paid elsewhere. That happens. But yeah, I don't think that. I think there's other head coaches in the league that are on more of a hot seat, and I think yours, Hendo, is actually more heated than these two.
Oh yes. There's a missing poster going out for the New England Patriots O-line. So if anyone could please find them, there is a nice reward given out for Fox, but please find them. I saw a stat today. The average time that Mac Jones had before he had pressure yesterday was 1.38 seconds. So he had less than 2 seconds, less than a second and a half before someone was literally inside that pocket yesterday. Mac is some of the problem, because he's not the modern day quarterback that we got nowadays.
Can we just call him McCorkle? His real name, Michael McCorkle. McCorkle.
Yeah, no, I know that.
Call him McCorkle.
The O-line is a piece of garbage. We got David Andrews, who is probably meant to be one of the greatest centers in the league. Cole Strange was our first round pick last year, who is a good guard, and he's not healthy. Our tackles are literally walking flags. They literally like holding onto people, and it's like, it's drive killers. We're getting down there, and it's like, flag, Trent Brown holding, flag, Onakawa holding. It's like, let go of them. But it's also Mac Jones not wanting to give up the play, not wanting to take a sack. He got sacked twice yesterday. Instead of, right, I'm going to throw the ball away. There was one with the Tyrann Mathieu interception. Go down, take the sack, don't try and force it. Lose 7 yards on the sack or lose 7 points. It's that way, and this is what it is. And it is, I think last season has affected him so much more than people think, because he wasn't coached. He wasn't told, you got to do this, you got to do this, and you got to do this. But I do think, like Mr. Perrin said a couple of minutes ago, the defensive style of coaching, which Belichick is done. New England Patriots style of football is always run. Right, knacker the defensive line out. Now we can start going. This always been the same 20 odd years. Even Bledsoe had it. Brady has had it. We always had White. We've had so many good running backs over the years that literally smash you, run mouth football. And it doesn't work anymore. As we said earlier on in the show, and it is teams want now to get first down on the first go, or they want to hit that big 25, 30-yard plays. Mac Jones can do those big plays, but he hasn't got the time in the pocket, and it goes down to GM Belichick, poor drafting, not drafting good O-lines, not taking good weapons. We gave up Jefferson. We missed out on Jefferson, Debo, and there's someone else who I can't think who it is now. One of those really good wide receivers, and we took Khalil Harry.
Yeah, baby would know.
Yeah, Mr. Hope would know. And it's that kind of thing. Yes, we needed a big body and all that as well, but it's always the thing later on, isn't it? You take the brains, not the athlete. And Khalil Harry wasn't even an athlete, but I don't even think he's in the league anymore. I think even Brady got cut by the Bears last summer. There is a lot of problems in this organization. I do think the coaching, I do think the head coach and the GM, who are the same people, is the big issue. O-line really needs a lot of work. And I mean a lot of work, because you can't leave your quarterback with less second and a half in the pocket before he's got someone literally in his pocket. And I think you would see his rookie numbers come back, because he had so much time in that year. And he was properly coached under Josh McDaniels. Take it away, though, the New Orleans Saints played well. Well, we made New Orleans Saints look like San Francisco 49ers yesterday.
Why would you have to make that comparison?
Well, it's true. They are the best team in football at the moment, and I hate saying that because of him and Baby Hope, who's not here at the moment. It's true, and there's I could see Robert Kraft going, right, enough's enough, Bill. You've been around this league for 40 years plus now. Cleveland, New York. He's been in New England for 25 years. And I'm starting to think it was Brady. That was the goodness, not
controversial.
Here we go.
Some people say, both lifted each other, blah, 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 blah. Brady went to Tampa and won a Super Bowl. What's Belichick done since?
Yeah, it's true.
Numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie.
He's 11 wins from Don Sula's record. It's not going to happen. Yes, Phil.
I 100% agree with you. I'm not trying to be controversial. I do agree with you. I think what's going on in New England is the curse of absolute power. And when you have absolute power and it's unchallenged for a long time, it corrupts you. You lose sight of what actually you want to actually get out of his position. Bill Belichick his legacy will be an excellent head coach, one of the all-time best. He'll be mentioned in the same breath as Shula, Madden, Walsh, Seaford,
somebody.
Probably Andy Reid at some point, because I think Andy Reid's probably going to pick up another Super Bowl with the Chiefs. Yep. Pains me to say it. He'll be mentioned in the same breath, and he'll probably have his own wing at Campton. He is not a GM. His role as general manager is stopping him from doing the one thing that's made him successful, and that is coach. And he has not drafted well since he's had the position. He has continuously not drafted well whilst he's had that position. He's not a great talent spotter. He's great at being given talent, and there's nothing wrong with that. I will stand accused as well, like in San Francisco. Kyle Shanahan is not a talent spotter. He is great getting the best out of talent.
Johnny Manziel program shows a lot.
Yeah, he is not particularly great at drafting. It's shown that. I think what actually is more alarming is that Kraft has allowed this to go on for as long as it did. Now, do you remember a while ago back in Philly, Chip Kelly? He had one good season with the Eagles, and they made him general manager at the same time. And they spent 2 years and they bombed. Like, the Eagles sucked hard. And this is before their Super Bowl winning team. They were really bad. And it was because what made Chip Kelly really good as a college head coach, and even his first year in the NFL, was that he was allowed to just coach. When you add on management responsibilities that aren't on the practice field, when you take your eye off what made you successful to begin with, that's when you find that your talent and your value goes down drastically. And I still would like to see history in the making of Bill Belichick winning, getting the all-time winning record, like beating Don Shula's record, because none of us were around when Don Shula was managing the Dolphins.
No.
In their prime, I should say. We didn't see the unbeatables. We didn't see the Marinos. We didn't see them in their prime. But we've seen Belichick and his Patriot team in their prime, and I would love to see that as a fan, as a neutral fan, to see history. But something radically needs to change, and I don't think whether or not Bill is going to be in the league next year, in either role.
Agreed.
I think you will.
Sorry, I just got on a rant. I'm really hyped today.
No, that's fine. On to the 9 o'clock games. We've actually picked one each to review ourselves, which we'll go over. But Philadelphia keep up their unbeaten record by beating the Rams 23-14 in SoFi. Who would like to go first?
I'll go. I mean, I don't mind going first because I'm just going to say, like, I still, even though the Eagles won, and they are undefeated, I still don't think we're seeing the best of the Eagles. I still think, even though they're undefeated, it's kind of deceptive because I don't still know how good this team is. They are playing average to moderate or underwhelmingly, but still grinding out the win. So I don't know whether or not that's their team for the season or they just haven't gotten to that next gear yet. So the Rams are mid. And I'm not trying to say that to be like a cool kids term. They're middle of the pack. They're not as bad as they were last year, but they're not contending. They're not playoff bound. They're middle of the pack. And for a portion of that game, the Rams really gave it to them. Like they did.
Cool.
Yeah. And, it was only really in the third quarter, there was no score. It's only really in, the second, in the fourth quarter where, I don't know, was it 2 field goals or was it touchdown but no conversion? Either way, they only scored 6 in the fourth. I didn't watch the game. I'm sorry. 2 field goals.
That's fine. No Swift, no problem in Minnesota as KC beat Minnesota Vikings 27-20. Shano, this is your game, my friend.
It is, it is. And thankfully, it was no Taylor Swift sightings this week because I believe there's a lot more. I've been sort of going down the rabbit hole of this whole Taylor Swift thing, and I think there's a lot more to it than meets the eye regarding the NFL. But be that as it, there you go. Be that as it may, we'll move on to that at some point, if anything, if we have any further developments. The first play of this game, apart from the opening kickoff, was the Chiefs were on offense and got the ball turned over. First play. So I think that sort of set up the game then for the Chiefs and for the Vikings. I think if you look at this game from a neutral point of view, you think the Chiefs are going to win, and they are. They're one of the best teams in football. Yeah.
Oh wow.
They're one of the best. They're one of the best teams in football at the moment. They're 4-1. Obviously, they can't touch the upper echelon of this league. Excuse me. Yeah. Just trying to think. Yeah, Justin Jefferson was injured. We don't know how long he's going to be out for, which will upset a lot of fans.
They're not going to rush him, though, are they? Then the reporters they're not going to rush him back.
Ollie, at the end of the day, they're 1-4. Do you think? What do you think they're going to do? Do you think they're going to fight to make something out the rest of this season? Because they might be.
We all know that.
Exactly, and like they've got the Bears next. So I think I think it's time to stand up in that game. Because I think that game could turn the Vikings season around, or unless a resurgent Bears knock them off, you never know. Mahomes threw for 281 yards. So, Mahomes doing Mahomes things. 2 touchdown passes. 1 to the ever-present Travis Kelce. And Rashid Rice as well got on the scoreboard.
I'm really impressed by Rashid Rice.
I know
you liked him going to the draft, didn't you, Mr. Perrins?
Mm-hmm.
I thought he played really well. Yeah, he was 33 receiving yards. He was targeted 5 times and caught 4 balls. And touchdown, like I said, so you can't really complain. Jordan Addison on the scoreboard again for the Vikings. He scored. Other than that, as I said, I think the Chiefs were going into this game knowing they'd win, and I think we all thought the same as well. And they did.
Yeah. Oh yes. So going on to one of the other games, New York Jets won out in the Nathaniel Hackett Bowl as Brees Hall rushed for 177 yards in the Jets' 31-21 win over Denver. Mr. Perrins.
I mean, so much was going on in this game. Yes, it was Hackett's revenge tour, courtesy of Denver, coming to October in around Colorado. It's very hard to remain neutral in this because I hate Russell Wilson. I don't like Sean Payton. I don't like the Broncos. But we have to look at a few similarities here. Basically, Wilson and Wilson's stats were identical.
Yeah, pretty much.
Basically, they were very, very identical. Both Wilsons also throw a Wilson football as well. So there's lots of different things that we can link between these two badly based quarterbacks. Both of them aren't particularly well liked by the team. Both of them won't be in the league in a couple of years. Both of them are basically trying to save their short NFL terms at this moment in time during this season. I'm happy that the Jets won because, as you know, as a San Francisco 49er fan, Robert Saleh, I really want his teams to do well. The same with D'Amico Ryans. But it just seems that the Broncos are in a bigger trouble than I think even they think they actually are. We're all concerned about, like you said, about like the Patriots not playing well. The Broncos are also in the same position. This is a team that has a loaded offense and defense. The fact that they've got a wholesale going on, I don't know whether or not you saw it, Jen. So on Saturday, when it was reported that no player is off limits, they're open to all and every trade. Now, I do think Pat Surtain, who was probably their best player on the weekend with his interception from basically he got a dick catch, didn't he, from Zach Wilson? Yeah. Did you see it?
He's not even he's not even the best player on the defense. He's the best player on the whole squad. 53 full bloody stop.
And he's one of those that, like, the 49er fan base are piping off because, he's only been in the league for 2 years. The Broncos are already looking to have a fire sale. And I generally wouldn't be surprised before the trade deadline that San Francisco just complete their already stacked team. And even if we just give away our first this year for him, because we probably go for a corner anyway in the first. And, he's guaranteed to, be on his rookie contract for at least another 2 seasons before we'd have to think about paying him bigger money. But yeah, Surtain is by far their best player. And I actually feel really sorry for really good players on poor teams. Sometimes like with this, I'm not a massive fan of McCorkle. So with the fact that he's really struggling in New England doesn't really bother me. But like, I hate Wilson, but I love Pat Surtain. And I really want him to not be on a poor team. It's like Justin Jefferson in Minnesota, like you said. Even if it's not as bad as initially reported, why rush yourself back? The Vikings are still going to have a losing season. Why do you want to be a part of that when you're going to kick up to get your arse handed to you by mid to average teams for the rest of their calendar year? The Vikings were supposed to be locked on for another playoff berth. They were supposed to get the NFC North. No, they're not. Is it North? No, West. Is it West? No, West. Yes, North. I always forget between the North and the and they were supposed to be locked on for that. No, they're not at all. Like, so it's two bad teams going head to head. The Jets just irked it out with a second string quarterback called Wilson, whilst a first string called Wilson did not play well as well, even though both Wilsons had very similar stats throughout the game. That's it.
No, that's fine. The last 9 o'clock game was the Bengals chased out to a 34-20 win as Jamar Chase finally showed up this season, pleasing all his fantasy owners with a 3-touchdown, 192 receiving yard game. This was ridiculous. I mean, earlier on in the week, it was reported, I think it may be in Thursday, that Jamar Chase had a bust up with the head coach, saying he wanted out, he wanted to be traded, get me out of this team. Also stating, I'm always open. And look, Joe Burrow found him. Joe Burrow still isn't fit, still hobbling around, still getting a massage gun on his calf after every bloody play, after every drive.
On his what?
Yep.
I didn't know Deshaun Watson played for the Bengals.
Hey!
Another long-term ban coming.
He's the new man.
Thank you.
Colt, No, the Cardinals have lost James Conner. It looks like he's gone out for a while now because he went out after 6 carries for 46 yards. That looks quite a bad one. It was nice actually to see Jamar Chase playing with a smile on his face again, enjoying his football again. This is what you want to see with players. We love it when a QB gets off the pitch and throws his helmet because a wide receiver's messed up or he's been sacked.
Unless it's our team that's doing it.
I love it when they smash the Surface Pros. Like I used to love it when Brady did that.
Yeah.
Oh, what, when they smash the pads? Yeah,
Yeah,
great.
I love it. I actually love it because like part of me just goes, "Oh, he's going to get a bill for that in the morning."
Boy's best thing is when McCorkle throws his helmet to the ground, he probably still misses a target.
He does, yeah, and he bounces and hits him back.
That's right. If Lamar threw it to his receivers, they wouldn't catch it.
I know, it's terrible.
Imagine having wide receivers that don't catch the ball.
Right, we're both at it in a minute, so it's fine.
Anyway.
But, yeah, I mean, Jamar Chase was superb. Jamar Chase was back to where he has been for the last 2 years in the league. You know, we all thought it was a massive risk. Joe Burrow's Bengals not protecting Joe Burrow. And number 5, they didn't take, what was his name? The number 1 tackle that was in the league. He is now at Detroit. What's his name? He even caught a pass in one game last season. I can't remember his name. It's really ridiculous doing my head in now. But, yeah. And I still do think they need to protect Joe Burrow. They need to give him time. He's one of the most sacked and hit QBs in the league. And this is going to be an issue. We said this on Thursday night. We're going to have another Andrew Luck situation if we're not careful in Joe Burrow's. Where he's injured. But Joe Burrow, this is the best he's looked this season. Still doesn't look free. Still doesn't look good. This is the best the Bengals look this season as well, despite them winning last week. They are starting to turn the corner, I think, now. And I think the fitter they get Joe Burrow, the better they are going to be. Just got to keep Jamar happy. Go on then, Mr. Perrins.
All right. So, I mean, you two haven't mentioned like my name or my screen name during the show. Is because it's 2019-1. That means in the 40 match history in the NFL, the San Francisco 49ers are now the rival winners. They've won 20 of our 40 games against the Cowboys. The 19 victories only taken by them, but they haven't beaten us in such a long time. 42-10. Now, coming into this game, I even said on Thursday that I was quite nervous because it is Cowboy week, okay? Now, we've beaten the Cowboys consistently in the playoffs over the last couple of years. But they've got a monkey on their back, to steal the phrase that Steve Young used in the 90s, where he finally got his dub over the Cowboys, beating them in the regular season and beating them in the NFC Championship. And he said it was like almost like a rebirth for how he felt his career was going, because he was playing well, but the Cowboys, the same team, were just steamrolling over him every single year. And there was this narrative coming in to this game that this was Dak's moment, that Dak has been humiliated by the 49ers. And he's been run over. He's been humiliated on the pitch. He's not played well. He's not turned up. And shockingly, he didn't turn up again. He had another exceptionally poor game. But don't stop there. This elite Dallas Cowboy defense that stars Micah Parsons was absolutely humiliated by Brock Purdy's offense. Now we can say but CMC only averaged 2.7 yards per carry. Okay, but you're also forgetting all the other weapons that are on this offense as well. Now, you can't have weapons without having somebody feeding them the ammunition. And this is where I think I'm just going to get on the bandwagon again. I don't think I actually ever got off the bandwagon. Brock Purdy is legit. He is legit. I said this at the beginning of the season. I say it every weekend anyway since the NFL season started. He is making this offense go. He is making this train chug along. And San Francisco's been criticized. You haven't really played a contender. You've beaten a Pittsburgh team, a Cardinals team, a Rams team. You haven't really played anybody of substance. We've beaten a team that was touted as being Super Bowl bound next to us and the Eagles. And we didn't just beat them, we humiliated them. And George Kittle looks absolutely absolutely fantastic. 3 touchdowns. The Juice got 1 as well. Who else got?
CMC. And
CMC
Jason Mason. Who's Jordan Mason?
Jordan Mason, he's literally our third string running back, okay, who we drafted last year, I think.
Okay.
He was originally supposed to sit behind Elijah Mitchell, but Elijah Mitchell's career probably is over because he's just injury prone galore. But like Jordan Mason, Christian McCaffrey, Kittle got 3. The Juice got his first touchdown of the season. It was humiliating. I know I keep saying about, lambasting how great the 49ers are, and I know you two hate it when we win because you know what's coming Monday. But objectively, if we take a step back, and I'm just going to take my fanboy hat off for a second, it's hard to disagree with Skip Bayless, Colin Cowherd, any of the NFL commentators or pundits that aren't associated with analysis, who aren't associated with the Dallas Cowboys, like you, Michael Irvin, who was the only one yesterday that said the Dallas Cowboys are going to win. No, they didn't, Michael. No, they didn't. It's hard to argue that the 49ers aren't the best team in the NFL. And they've been that way for a while. And they've only gotten better. Like, a couple of years ago when we got to the Super Bowl, we didn't win. But the following season, we had an injury-struck season. But next year, we got to the NFC Championship game. We were beaten by Jimmy Garoppolo's last-minute stupidity. Last year, we got beaten. Brock Purdy got injured, and we were down to our fourth-string quarterback. And then in the off-season, we didn't lick our wounds. We didn't lambast. We just got stronger. And it looks like this is more personal this year than it has been in a long time for San Francisco. It's like the season is just a hindrance to us. We're literally playing for when we get to that NFC Championship game, whether or not it's Eagles revenge or we get to the Super Bowl and we play probably the Chiefs or the Bills or the Bengals. Fred Warner on defense, amazing. I know I said it. There was other members in the team as well that performed exceptionally well, but Fred Warner is literally Superman.
8 tackles, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass deflected, and 1 QB hit.
When he plays, one of my favorite ever 49ers players was Patrick Willis, and he was the first 49er jersey that I bought.
A good player.
Patrick Willis is insane.
Good player.
And then him linking up with Navarro Bowman made him even better because it allowed him to do other things. Fred Warner has Dree Greenlaw, who is exceptional as well. But watching him in the backfield, he's built he's actually built more like a tight end. He's not built like your big stocky Patrick Willis, Luke Keithley kind of linebacker. He's built like a tight end. He's very nimble.
He reminds me of a strong safety.
I think he's bigger than a strong safety,
like a Julia Peppers type player. That kind of build.
The only reason why I say a tight end, because if you put him next to George Kittle and Kelsey, he's about that size. He's about the same height. He's not thick, but he's lean. And he throws himself around he does play a bit like a strong safety. So he doesn't play like your traditional linebacker because he'll fly across the pit. If there's a pass, he doesn't try and run. He dives at it. And a lot of his interceptions have been him doing the same thing, anticipating the second ball, anticipating before it drops, flying over, just breaking up passes. And these tackles are insane, but he just flies around the pitch. And I think that's just excellent on his part. And he's just bringing out the best in the defense as well. So Fred Warner, I think I mentioned that he's probably my player of the week. But I'm not going to say anything more about my view of the game, gents. Do you want to fill in as two people that hate me talking about the 49ers? How do you feel about San Francisco?
I said something in the chat that I have a confession to make.
These are my confessions.
Yeah, this is nothing. No, I'm not.
We'll be hearing that in February.
Yeah. I wasn't sold on Brock Purdy. I was thinking, okay, you've not played anyone good. Yes, he's 9-0 going. He's 9-0 now, 10-0 in his starting careers. Blah 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 blah. He's got these weapons. He's got all this. He's got all this. Brock Purdy is generally good. Mm-hmm. I generally thought this Dallas defense would give you a lot more trouble than they did.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy isn't one of these flashy running quarterbacks like Lamar or like Deshaun Watson or give me someone else, or Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
He's not got massive arm strength like Josh Allen, like Herbert, like
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, like Trevor Lawrence or something like that. He is very much in the Brady mold-esque of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Very good in the numbers, very good at keeping the ball, very good at game management. I hate that phrase, game management. But he doesn't turn the ball over.
Yeah.
And it helps that your O-line is superb, which is hard to say. Gives him the time to sit there. You know, he does a fantastic job in your system.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't like saying it, but he's actually a good quarterback, and you've got yourself an absolute gem there. And I can see this guy being around the league for at least a decade.
And there's no shame in saying he is a system quarterback, because aren't most quarterbacks a system quarterback?
Yeah.
Let's be honest, they fit their offensive scheme. That's why head coaches.
Jared Goff down in Detroit didn't fit LA, but he fitted Detroit.
Yeah. Also, just going back on to what you said, I was listening to a podcast this morning that wasn't a 49er podcast. It was just an NFL recap podcast. And I know, right? And one of the presenters said, Brock Purdy reminds him a lot of Drew Brees. And when we think about like the great quarterbacks of the last 20 years, you'll go, well, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, probably Big Ben, and then Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre. And then you'll include Drew Brees. Drew Brees won't be at the top, but he'll be in that conversation.
Yeah.
And Drew Brees had an amazing arm, but he was undersized. He didn't really turn the ball over much for the majority of his career. His last couple of years in New Orleans, he was massively.
When he was trying to force it, yeah.
Yeah. But what he did exceptionally well, because he was accurate. He knew how to read defenses. He would go through all of his reads just before the snap, and he would get rid of the ball without really taking much hits for the majority of his career. The last couple of years, he was slow, he was worn down. That happens with a player anyway. And he likened Brock Purdy to just Drew Brees. Does everything what a normal quarterback would do, but better. Like, he's exceptional. Like, you see his target, boom, no questions asked, he gets it. Doesn't turn the ball over. He has amazing ball security. His last interception was at the back end of last season. He hasn't turned the ball over this year. And his QB rating at the moment, that if he retired or finished playing football tomorrow, he would statistically be one of the greatest ever quarterbacks in the NFL.
Mr. Harris, quickly.
Go.
Yep. Mr. Harris, quickly.
As is well documented on here, when me and Baby Hope have a few words about this, I've always said there's nothing in the Cowboys, and last night I was right.
Yeah.
I think their schedule is deceiving. They've played the Giants, the Jets, the Cardinals, which they lost. Yep, and they played the Pats, and they played the Niners. They're 3-2. They've beaten easy teams. Granted, they should have beat the Cardinals as well. But let's be real, Ollie, and as much as we've said we hate to admit it, the Niners are the gold standard, the elite, the measuring stick of football right now. So that they were gonna put some points on the Cowboys last night, and they did. Niners are still my pick for the Super Bowl. As much, again, as I hate to say it, it's gonna happen.
You say that they put 40 points on New York. They put 70 points on the two New York teams. They put nearly 40 points on us as well. They score heavily against those weaker teams. I hate saying they're a weaker team. The next, I'm going to say next 3 or 4 weeks is probably them against the Chargers are going to want to prove themselves as a contender to the playoffs. Same as the Rams. Then they got the Eagles who want to prove themselves as the number 1 rank. And then the Giants are going to want to go, hang on. That's not happening again. Then we'll see where they are. But I was expecting a bigger from their defense, and then what happened yesterday. They are a very, very good defense with some very, very good players on there, but still. Gentlemen, there is a game tonight. It is Green Bay, Las Vegas. Quickly, let's have some quick thoughts around the table. Mr. Perry.
What do you reckon, Phil?
I think, the Raiders are so bad, and now the fans are starting to turn against them. Did you see that video of those fans chastating Mark Davis?
Yes.
Like, they literally film it, and I say, and he like fight. When you have a fan base turn against a team, a coach, and an owner, that is never a good sign, because we're week 5 into the season, and you've already now got fans already done. The Raiders can't physically afford to fire Josh McDaniels. I've said this. That's the reason why they didn't get rid of him last year when things turned sour. But at the same time, they haven't really done much to try and improve the situation. Jimmy Garoppolo, as me and Ollie have said, has been the biggest waste of money that the Raiders have spent on a player for a long time. And the Raiders have spent stupid money on average to poor players. Jimmy Garoppolo is not their answer. Jimmy Garoppolo was never going to be their answer. I actually don't know why they picked him up, because he doesn't even fit the scheme that McDaniels was trying to implement last season, and even what he's tried to do this season. Jordan Love, I still don't rate. I mean, he's thrown for 901 yards, 8 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I don't think he's the chosen one. I still think he's very much a backup. And I still think, even with Jordan Love being extremely mid and Josh Jacobs having a better game last game, I still think the Packers are going to win.
Yeah, completely agree with that. I do think Jordan Love's a little bit better than you say you are. I think he's the phrase bridge quarterback springs to mind.
Yeah.
They're not going to pick up one of these good quarterbacks in the draft because they're going to be too high they're going to be late teens, early 20s, I think they're going to scrape the wild cards. Yeah, I mean, Devontae Adams is questionable for tonight. They don't have that out and out, in Las Vegas at all. I mean, there is something bad in Las Vegas. It's almost like they've taken over from Washington.
Yeah.
Now Don Snyder's out. Las Vegas is now the new bad team. Mr. Harris.
We mentioned earlier on, yes, I will, certainly. We mentioned earlier on about good players and bad teams.
Yep.
I would like to throw my hat in the ring and say Max Crosby is a very good player on a very bad team. Yeah. I really like Max Crosby a lot. Yeah, I think he's amazing. And the fact that Devontae Adams is out tonight, it is like, taking a limb away from a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest. He ain't gonna get far. I think Packers for the win. This one, Christian Watson is going to ball out because he's doing a good game. He's been here and there, in and out. Other than that, he's doing a good game. I think tonight he shows it as well. Is there anything else that we got to cover this week, Ollie?
No, Mr. Harris, that is it. Wind it up for us.
Do you mind if I take us home? Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for everyone joining us this week on the YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you find us. And this isn't the last time you're going to hear it this week. Trust me, I'm going to see the Ravens Sunday. I tell you, gentlemen. Thank you very much for another excellent show. I'll catch you all on Sunday. Have a great show Thursday. Good night.
Stay safe, all.